Hi, everyone. Excuse me. Welcome to the chat. Welcome back to the chat. I don't know why that keeps changing on me, my background. Either YouTube or StreamYard is acting wackadoo today. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Cheryl, Carolyn, Finding Solace, Deanna, Holly, and Carolyn's painting the walls today. Have fun, Carolyn. Good time of year to do it, especially if you're getting rain too, like we are, and it's not as hot out right now. Hi, Ariel. Hello to everyone, and thanks for being here. Yeah, see, my buttons are even. This is even sticking. Something's not acting right. It's making me nervous when it acts like this. It usually ends up cutting down on me. So if I go quiet, that's why. It's StreamYard, must be StreamYard acting up. I heard last night, or I can't remember if it was the live I watched or not, with Justin, Clutch Them Pearls, and there was some weirdness going on there too. So something's acting up. Just want to give a reminder. So I'll just put that up for a second. Just as a reminder, opinions are expressed by persons in the chat, do not reflect the opinions of myself. And everything discussed here is, of course, speculation, theories, opinions, and possibly rumors, which I do try to stay away from. But sometimes people may discuss that in the chat. So just a reminder. And if it's in your opinion, remember to put MIO, in my opinion, or speculations or theories or whatever the case may be, and even allegedly. So one thing, so Lilly&Jack Sullivan, one new document to review, plus what could be under those redacted areas. Wouldn't we all love to know? Some of it is self-explanatory if you've been following the Lilly and Jack Sullivan case. Lilly and Jack Sullivan, who went missing on May 2nd, last seen on May 1st, on video surveillance at Dollarama. And that has been confirmed by RCMP and in these documents as well. Lily is 6, Jack is 4. Um, they went missing from Lansdowne, Garlick Road and Lansdowne Station, um, from their home on May 2nd, as I said. And they have not been located. They have not been located. And it's a very sad story. It's heartbreaking. Um, I don't know, as time goes on, it just, to me, as time's going on, it just becomes more and more hard for me to believe that this has taken place here in our community. And I'm from the area, by the way. Um, and it's heartbreaking. Um, and then there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it, honestly. I mean, I wasn't on here yesterday, but I still think about it in my head, try to understand, where are they? Where could they be if they're not in the forest? Where did they go? What happened here? It's just baffling, and it's very frustrating. It's maddening. Um, yeah. So one thing I always wondered in this case. Hi, Drippy. Yeah, rained here overnight. I knew it could cause moose hunting season. I knew it would because moose hunting season has started, and the hunters need them in the woods. Um, And you got rain? Yeah. Well, that's a plus for many reasons, to cut back on the risk of fires, and because the more it rains, hopefully people who wanna go back out and search to make sure, just to make sure that Lily and Jack are not in the woods, the surrounding area of where they went missing, which is extremely rural here in our rural county. Um, or if something nefarious took place and they were placed out there, that that either way can be recovered, right? Um, so we're on a ban right now until October, and unless that's going to be lifted due to the rain that we're receiving. But this is only, I think, the second day of rain that we've received. So yeah, Drippy, you must be talking about moose hunting in Cape Breton and Newfoundland, or New Brunswick too, I guess. Because this part of Nova Scotia, we don't get moose, which I know Drippy knows. So she's from Nova Scotia too. So anybody from Nova Scotia knows where you got to go to hunt for a moose. We've had the odd one stray up this way from Cape Breton. Um, geez, just probably less than 10 years ago, there was one at one of the, oh, what was it called? It's a building supplies place, and I can't remember the name of it. But it had straight up. It was, well, not a baby, but it wasn't full growth yet. And that happens the odd time in my lifetime. I think that's only the second one that I've ever heard of. But I actually saw that one because I happened to be there that day at that store, and I saw it. He was cute. Um, yeah. So one thing that come out besides all those other documents that come out, um, is oh, geez, sorry, I forgot to put my comments down. There's more people in here. Um, was the award that was put out, that $150,000 reward, and I had talked about it a couple of times before. How those now that's something you have to apply to the province. And and typically it involves a criminal element. And however, this uh, was, stated that although it hadn't moved into a criminal investigation, that uh, they were able to get approval for this award. And I had always wondered, what was the workaround? Or if it was a workaround, or what was the case there that they were able to have that granted, when typically it's in a criminal investigation, that those are awarded. And um, anyways, so the document for that application to the province has been released to those that applied for it. And it was on Facebook, and I saw it, so I clipped it, and I'm going to share it with you guys if you haven't seen it already. Um, so CB, Rena Girl, hi. Bobby, hi. Just don't want to miss you guys coming in here. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. CB. In my opinion, I love the part at the start where you say everyone's name. It makes me feel like, in my opinion, like a kid. Well, oh yeah, I know. I know. I feel like that when I'm doing it too. And there's been other channels I go to where they've done that, and it brings me back to Romper Room as well. And then when I'm doing it, I'm thinking in my head, oh my God, I'm sounding like Romper Room. I can picture exactly in my head what she looked like. It's funny. My old memories are so clear in my mind. Yeah, rain in there too. That's good. Hi, Mary. Mary Randy. Oh, for Belinda, Canadian Cadaver Dogs. Oh, Canadian Cadaver Dogs at gmail.com. Yeah. Yeah. It's canines. Yeah, it is canines. Yeah. Cadaver. Canines. Yeah. She even kind of sounds like Romper. She had a very soft voice. I remember that. Yeah. She reminded me of my grade primary teacher. Grade primary or one. No, it was primary. Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, before we get into reading the rest of those documents, and I'm sorry that I am so slow with this, but I am. Um, I want to share with you the information that came out yesterday. And, oh, just one second. It's behind their picture. Uh, because it tells you what was in the application, what they stated in the application for approval to add the children to the rewards list. And mind you, they were granted the highest reward that can be awarded here in Nova Scotia. Anyways, I'm not sure what the other provinces are. Um, where's that picture at? There we go. Yeah, so the investigation team from the Northeast Novah crime unit, major crime unit, has referred this matter something for support in seeking your consideration for its inclusion to the program, as they believe there are individuals. So this is the important part. They believe there are individuals who are privy to information that could result in locating Jack and Lily Sullivan. So that's interesting. So that's what was in the application that they had submitted for approval to be added to the awards program. I recommend that this case be added to the Rewards for Major Unsolved Crimes program for a period of 12 months, at which time the status of the file will be reviewed by the Northeast Nova Major Crime Unit. And I mean, it's not like they're not working on it, and then in 12 months they're going to take a look at it. We know they're working on it, right? uh, So that's interesting. So they believe there are individuals who were privy to information that could lead or could result in locating Jack and Lily Sullivan. Um, and I always said, obviously, they do not believe they're in the woods, or they wouldn't have applied for this award and be granted it. And I don't know if you guys know, but when this first was put out as well, they called it a crime in the information that was put out, and then it had to be corrected. I think they did about 3 edits in that whole thing. I can't remember what the other 2 were, but that was the one that always stuck out in my mind, of course, because they had to pull that word out of it. The justice, what's her name? She's female. She had used the word crime. Um, and they had to correct that and take it out. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Hmm. Wilson Nelson, he is a Cree tracker, number 1 in Canada. That's awesome. So I don't I can't I think you were here in the last live when they Chelsea was here and they were talking about kind of chit-chatting on her Facebook, like she said reach out to her on her Facebook, which is Chelsea Gray. And they're going to kind of gather some information to start uh kinda just getting that information together to put together more searches, so make sure you reach out to her, Mary. Romper Room lady never said my name, and I don't ever remember her saying my name either. I'm sure maybe she did on a day I didn't watch. Yeah. Polly and Lily, though, which are both close to my first and middle names, so I had to settle for that, yeah. Also, look up Kevin Reamer missing from Elk Island National Park. Great reference to who can help, why military wasn't used. It should have been. Oh, yeah, yeah. I have no clue what Romper Room is. Oh, it was actually a pretty cool kids show. Out of all of them, I think it was probably one of the better ones. um, Finding Solace Canadian Children's Show. Yeah, yeah. Cool. I can't. Cool. X-Gents grew up with Romper Room. Yep, we sure did. We did. Oh my god, they didn't have Romper Room in Quebec? Hi, Belinda. Hi, Carla. Yes, this is why DT cannot say people have been cleared, and this is not. Oh no, I agree. I agree. And that that's another thing I was thinking about yesterday as well. I thought about the case a lot yesterday. I mean, I always think about it every day, but yesterday I just thought about it even more. I guess I was crocheted quite a bit yesterday and was kind of chilling, had my legs up to work on keeping the fluid off my legs, and I was crocheting and thinking a lot about it. And I just thought, when you look at all the evidence, and you go through it all, um, and all the contradictions that we know to be fact, because we anybody that's been following this case, and you can compare as to what all the information, not just what's stated in those court documents, right? And those are just court documents, you have to remember. That's her summary. That's not their exact uh 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 statements. That's a summary. So she can pull out of that what she wants to summarize what she's giving to the court. She can leave out what she wants. She can summarize what she wants. You have to remember that. And it's only information up until mid-July. So, but when you look at everything and write it in list form. No, I'm not telling you to, but I'm just saying if you were, right? The only thing that is in their favor that would look like it's in their favor is the polygraph. And that's not even for uh, Daniel's mother, Janie, right? And I always said that I felt that Malaya didn't know what happened. I always felt that. Um, and but Janie and Daniel, I wasn't sure about. Well, Daniel, I didn't think he did either until I started. He made me think otherwise. Um, so, oh yeah, not in French. Yeah, exactly. I never thought of that. Um, and so when you put that all down, right away, the first thing you have to scratch off there is the polygraphs because that is not considered evidence. I go by what a court, a judge, a jury is going to look at. That's evidence. That's facts. What you take into that courtroom. So right away, the very first thing you have to scratch off the list, polygraph, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's not accepted as evidence. So then I have to scratch that off the list and then look at everything else. And then my thought comes back to the same thing as a possibility if they did not wander off and they're not out in the forest. So, yeah. So I can't go along with the the theory that DT has, but I mean that's fine. We all have our own way of thinking, and you know, to me that is just it's not evidence. It's not evidence because it's not. It's not. It's not evidence in a court in Canada, and I'm pretty sure in the States as well. So, and then when I read this and I saw, I mean, they clearly believe, I recommend that this case be added to the, or sorry, so the Northeast Nova Major Crime Unit, they believe there are individuals and not individuals, plural, who are privy to information that could result in locating Jack and Lily Sullivan. So, and I know they're investigating this under a Missing Persons Act, but you also have to remember, as I showed you, and I'm going to tell you about another channel too that talks about this as well, and she's a lawyer, so it's better heard from her than me. Yeah, I agree, Ken, 100%, 100%. I agree. I agree. And that's what my brain and my gut tells me. Um, uh, yeah, so you have to remember that, they're investigating this under the Missing Persons Act, which gives them ability to open doors more easily. And we talked about that, right? Because under the Missing Persons Act, it allows them to obtain those warrants to access things much easier. Um, and we had went through that already. And if you listen to Bev from Crime, oh gosh, I'm gonna pull her. I'm gonna actually let me do it right now before I forget. Just give me a second. I'm gonna look her channel up. She's a lawyer. She's been on with Sunny on It's a Crime and Shame. She's excellent, and she did a couple of videos, and one part of it was explaining what some of the terms mean in those documents. Now, I touched on it the other day too, but she does a much better job. Of course, she's a lawyer. I just looked up the terminology on the computer and repeated what it told me to say. She explains it as a lawyer. She knows. Um, so yeah. So hi to anybody new coming in that I didn't. Jen, hi. JDR, hi. Even if they are brought to trial, the polygraphs will not be that's what I just said. I don't know if you were in here yet, but that's why I said when I sit like yesterday, I just thought about it real hard and I just looked at everything, and I have pretty much all of it written down. And then I have to just scratch the polys right off my list because it's not considered evidence, right? You can't, right? They just need to gather strong evidence, yeah, and that can take some time, unfortunately. Well, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's the person themselves, right? The people that are missing or the bodies. And because to know what actually happened to Lily and Jack, they may need Lily and Jack, if you understand what I mean. To show that, yeah, they did just wander off or no, something nefarious took place here, right? Which I get, the first sign would be is if they're buried, right? In the forest. Well, I don't agree with DT about the cell phone either. 3 hours. He was gone all day. Kids missing with no way to contact him, no way for her to get updates. I see why the family found that sus. No, not DT. No, I don't agree with the cell phones either. And I mean, it's not just one person who didn't take their cell phone, it's two. And I find that suspicious for sure. When you have two little kids missing and maybe sometimes the cell it's spotty or whatever, he was able to sell Google or send Google Maps stuff to Malaya. So to me, you don't take that chance. You're gonna that's the one time, like I said this a couple weeks ago, if there was ever a time in the whole wide world that you're gonna take that cell phone with you, that's gonna be the time. Yeah, but no, him and Janie both don't. It wasn't just him. Um, yeah, I don't know if he's biased, but he's got different thinking, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, he's got different thinking for sure. Because I started to wonder, am I being biased? And I guess maybe that's why I started thinking about it real hard yesterday. And no matter what, it brought me back to that same thought. It just, yeah, right. He said in his statements he always takes his cell phone with him when he leaves, but didn't that day. Right. Well, he said both. Like he always says both. Um, it's one or the other, right? You can't constantly keep your butt covered by just saying both. I don't usually take my cell phone with me because the service out here is so crappy. And then you turn around and say, I always take my cell phone with me. Like it's like, oh, Daniel. Yeah. And I do laugh when Sonny says if he's he's the most innocent, guilty looking person ever because he does makes his own self by the stuff that he does. He makes himself look so suspicious. Yeah. And a bear would have left tracks at the very least. Did the bear only walk along the paper? Well, the thing about the bear, like, I can't even go there because I lived out in in the country, and I had a bear coming right in my yard. You protect your children by not allowing them to go outside, and my kids were not that young. They were like 7 and 8, and, like, you protect them by not allowing them to go outside without you if there's a bear wandering around your property. You don't try to stop the bear from coming in. You protect the innocent from going out to where the bear is. So I can't even go there because it's just such foolishness. I mean, come on. Like, come on. I want to know one person who lives out in the country, and I have, that protects their children in the house from a bear outside, from stopping the bear from coming in the house, rather than protecting the children from going out of the house. So if there's a bear around your yard, you might want to figure out how to lock that sliding door that the kids can open and protect them from not getting out there. Like, none of it makes any sense to me. Oh yeah, the whole military guy that let him back in the woods. Yes. And I half wonder if that was so that they could follow him. Yeah, because none of them should have been allowed around there. Seawood High, Lisa High. Yeah. Did anyone else see in another chat last night that Janie said Malaya took 6 bags of children's clothes out of there? I didn't see that, but Daniel has always clearly said she took nothing. And that's what he said. She took nothing except his 2 sweaters. And that's what he said. Yeah, but I didn't see that. And what about the neighbor? So many stories thrown out there to see what might stick. Yeah, yeah. And I don't believe that stuff about the neighbor either. That's foolish. And to go on about because the neighbor is an addict or we don't even, none of it, we don't even, how can you talk about stuff that you don't even have evidence of is my thing. Like, to say to try to convince people that you're ruled out and you're cleared because of a polygraph, which isn't even legal in a court of law, it's not considered evidence and it's not considered facts, in a courtroom, but yet we're going to throw mud at a neighbor that nobody even knows that these things are true, that the neighbor's on rugs and that the neighbor, because the neighbor, now you've got the neighbor on rugs. So now that you've got that out there, you can now say that people on rugs go through other people's stuff and could have took the blanket out of the garbage. Yeah, okay. Um, People on rugs are usually looking to steal stuff that's worth money. Um, and on top of that, you have somebody on rugs right on the property, which, in my opinion, is probably most likely the person that took anything that would have been worth money to sell for money for rugs, not the one down the street on rugs. Anyways, you guys know what I'm trying to say. It says right in the documents that the polygraphs were used to try to clear Malaya with involvement in the disappearance or death. Yep, yep, it does. Yeah. And a lot of that too has to do with the uh, what the interviewer is picking up on, or you know, what they're what they're gathering through conversation with that individual outside of the polygraph, not just the polygraph. Yeah. What chat Seawood? I can see coyotes and actually found it sus that Dee was making up Cindy conspiracies before, wondering if a coyote was involved. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Lori Green. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Linda Seawood, Drippy, Johnny. Hi, Johnny. I think DT is being true to his statement methodology uh, that he focuses on the official information where the RCMP are looking. Yeah, well, he's got a certain way of thinking of things, which is fine. I don't care what anybody thinks at the end of the day, except the RCMP. Um, yeah, like some of it, I don't understand. I don't understand because, like I said, in a court of law, you can't. I just when I sit down to look at everything yesterday, and then I'm like, okay, well, I got to scratch that right off the list because that's not even gonna. That wouldn't enter the doors of a courtroom, so I can't even look at that, right? And then I'm looking at everything else again that I've learned from then till now. The animals have nothing to do with anything. Yep, I agree. That's why I just can't even go there with the whole bear thing. That's just ridiculous. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to. You guys keep chatting there. Hi, Squid. I just don't want to miss anybody. Thanks for being here to everybody. If I missed anybody, my apologies. Okay, I'm gonna go over to YouTube and try and find Bev's channel. She's great. I have her in my list. I just watched her videos, a couple of her videos there. And not only is she a lawyer, but she's actually worked on case involving children. Uh, yeah, that was her job. Now she's switching over now to I think prosecution. Maybe she'll probably explain what she's going to be on today too. Actually, at 4 o'clock. Uh, that's a shame. That young fella. I've never heard tell of him before. Sure, my Charlie Kirk. That what a shame that is. My God, that's terrible that somebody would go and do that. And just a young fella with a cute family, two babies. So sad. Where are you, Bev? Huh. Jeez, did I pass her? And when I look for her on my phone, she's usually like right away. And she must be at the end on this. There she is. Okay. So, Crime Courtroom Confidential. And she's actually coming on at 4. So, when we're done here, we should do a room raid and everybody go over to her video. And it's on Jack and Lily. Or maybe if we're finished up here, we can do a room raid and go over. I'm pretty sure she's still on at 4 today. I should check and make sure. We'll take a look on here. And she's awesome. So she's spoke of Jack and Lily quite a few times in her videos. And like I said, she's a lawyer and she has so much, gosh, I can't remember how long, maybe 20 years um, that she's been a lawyer. And most of it has been dealing with children's cases. Um, Live, upcoming. Oh, I think she rescheduled it for tomorrow. Is today? Yeah, sorry, it's not until tomorrow, guys. The 12th. Lily and Jack. So she's doing two. So she's doing one at 9 a.m. and one at 4 p.m. And the first one is Lilly&Jack Sullivan, the RCMP investigate timeline plus 527 pages. Well, she's already talked about a couple of things on those pages, but she's taken her time going through those. And now this is a lawyer that's going through these. And now tomorrow she's going to tell us what she got out of it. And like I said, the other two videos speak of, so we got Jack and Lily Sullivan, RCMP dogs, and the CCC dogs, and something else. And then Jack and Lily Sullivan, legal questions answered. And that's where she kind of tells you what the certain things that are redacted, what those things that are stamped on it, what it means. Okay, and then tomorrow in the afternoon, so she's doing one at 9 a.m. and then one at 4 p.m. Weekend Whispers. Let's talk theories about Lily and Jack Sullivan. So if you're not um, subscribed to her channel, she's great. So I would subscribe to her, honestly. I 100% recommend her channel, and it's Crime Courtroom Confidential. Um, Thanks, Mike. Yeah, she's great. Okay, so let's go back over to those documents. Now, where we left off, we went through Janie's statement. Then we were going to go over to Malaya, but we skipped over to Daniel because um, there was something I wanted to show you guys. So we skipped over to him and went through like a little piece of him. But now we're going to go back to Malaya today. Did anyone see about the Nebraska police holding a human trafficking talk? Or I should have said rafficking talk, onset, onsen, September the 16th? No, no, I didn't. Oh, okay, she deleted it until tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, so it's on tomorrow. Yeah, 2 deaths by coyote, all in North America, California in the 80s, Cape Breton more recently. Yes, the female that was up on the trails. Yeah, I remember that one. All right, so let's go back to these documents and continue where we left off. Woo! Slow down. Now, just to explain, so what this is the information record access order that the RCMP have put through to the court to gain um, warrants to be able to gain access to things that they want to look into. under the Missing Persons Act. So in doing that, they have to show that what they have done on their end, because what the Missing Persons Act states is that the officers have tried to do everything they can on their end to locate these children, but the children have yet to be located. And so they have to show that, we've searched these areas. This is what we've used in the search. We've talked to this witness and that witness. We've talked to the school bus driver. We've talked to the parents. We talked to Janie. We talked to Ron. We talked to, you know, they have to explain all that. And so the things like that, the videotape that they gained, to show where the children were on the first, and so all those things, they're just explaining to the court that this is what we've done to try to locate these children. And once they show that, that's why they are allowed to gain access to warrants, and that's under the Missing Persons Act. So it's not as complicated as it would be in under the criminal act, or in a criminal case, or whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. So basically that's what they're doing here. So she's summarizing to the judge, um, here's what we've done on our end. We haven't located these children, so now we want to gain access to these other things that could assist us. Um, and in order to do that, she summarizes everything up. So that's why I say, you have to understand it's her summary. She's summarizing. It's not the actual uh, statements, but it's a summary of what was given to her. Um, yeah. And of course, a lot of it is redacted. And like I said, in those videos of Bev, she explains to you what's under those redactions. And I explained it in my 2 videos ago. Um, so, one thing I wanted to show here. So, I'm not going to go through all it shows, it's talking about the videotapes for the bus, and we know that they received that. Well, we talked about it when I first started going over these documents. We know that they gained access to Malay and Daniel's banking stuff. We know that they gained inf- uh, information on Malaya's Text Plus account. We know that their cell phones. Um, so those things we know. But there's some stuff here, um, that we don't know. We don't know what it is, and it's redacted. Um, Now, one thing I found interesting is, now see, that's all redacted, right? So who knows what that is? A couple of things I did find out what they are. Um, and it's the same thing repeated over and over and over for each application. So we're not going to keep repeating it over and over and over. We don't care what she successfully completed, all of that. Um, and this is what this is. This is explaining all the stuff that she did. Um, so she's saying there had been 2 previous applications under the Missing Persons Act. On May 16th, 2025, I presented an application for records access order for the cell phone records of Malaya Brooks Murray and Daniel Martel. That authorization was granted by Justice of the Peace, and so on and so on. And then on May 17, 2025, I presented an application for the records access order for school bus surveillance. Um, so she's, again, uh, just explaining some of the stuff that has been done thus far. And when she applied for those ones, she would have had to have given the summary then as well. And then 14, I relied upon the following computer system. So you see, she's just explaining this is what we've done, and we have not located them. Um, I have relied upon the information from the following police officers, um, Pictou County RCMP were dispatched. Okay, that's just explaining. And then it gets into this part of it. I've taken these statements. So we did Janie's, and now we're going to do Malaya's. Um, Malaya provided 4 statements to the police. Just one second though. There was one thing I wanted to read to you guys, and I didn't see it there. Or maybe it didn't come up yet. Um, or no, I think I did read it. Maybe I did. Rolling even out. Yeah, the order for Malaya and Daniel's phones. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so Malaya provided 4 statements, and I thought she actually has provided 5 statements uh, up to this point, but it's saying 4 there. 2 statements were provided on May 2nd, one on May 3rd, and one on May 4th. The following is a summary of what she said. On the day that Jack and Lily went missing, she heard them playing in the room and was going in and out of sleep. Lily came into the room around, and the time is redacted. But we know that she had said, well, actually, she didn't say that she came into the room. Um, just a second. I think I already read Malaya. Do you guys remember? You're probably telling me in the chat that I did. I think I already read Malaya. Now that because I remember saying this is the only part that you'll see where Malaya says that that it was Malaya that came into the room. And I don't know if that was a mistake or what, because it was always Daniel. Daniel said that. I think I did read that one to you guys already. So I'm going to move on to Daniel. Okay, Daniel worked every Monday. Okay, that's to her. They discussed what happened earlier that day. Yes. Yeah, I did read that. Now I remember for sure that I did. God, my memory. Okay, Daniel provided 2 statements to police on May 2nd, 2025 and May 4th, 2025. The following is a summary of what he said. Daniel said Malaya took the baby, Meadow, and I know I started reading this, but I didn't finish it. But I'm just going to go through the whole thing again. Okay, so Daniel said Malaya took the baby, Meadow, and left with her family. She blocked him on social media, and she couldn't get in contact, and he couldn't get in contact with her. Daniel said he rarely used. Now, remember this. Daniel said he rarely used or checked his phone, but has done so more in the last 3 days since the kids went missing. When asked about Friday morning, Daniel said the following. Daniel said he was in the bedroom with Malaya and Meadow. who were in bed with him. Lily came in a couple of times, but he did not check his phone to see the time. The television was on and it was daylight outside. Lily didn't say anything, which now he's saying that the last thing she said was, "Hey, Dad." Um, and that to me is all confusing because in the newspaper, he had stated that the kids were being loud that day and him and Malaya asked them to quieten down. But yet he's saying that her last words were, "Hey, Dad." And then in here, he says, but yet in here, he's saying, Lily didn't say anything. So it's just kind of another scratch your head thing. Confusing. She would just open the door and look in and then leave. She did that 2 or 3 times. They used to remind her not to rush into the room because they wanted to make sure Meadow got a good sleep. Sometimes the kid would sometimes the kids would wake her up. Daniel said he got up and he didn't hear the kids. He thought it was only a few minutes since Lily last poked her head in the door. And we know a lot of that doesn't line up time-wise, you know, and I mean, sometimes you fall asleep and a lot of time passes and you think it was a few minutes, but he had also stated that he wasn't in a deep sleep either. So that kind of, tosses that out the window that he could have been in a really deep sleep. So again, it's all confusing. I wish Daniel would just stick to one thing, because it just makes things look so suspicious. He went out and saw the back sliding door was closed. The kids didn't usually close it when they went outside. Their boots were gone. Daniel ran around the house looking for them, but they were not there. Malaya got up when he got up as well, and excuse me, and was looking for the kids. Daniel ran outside, but they were not in the yard and he couldn't see them. He got in the car and drove around, then ran around in the woods looking for them. He searched for hours. So he was gone for hours. That is true. He's said it himself right there in his own statement. Um, he said he did not look at the time and didn't even take his phone. Regarding Thursday, Daniel said, the kids did not go to school because Malaya thought Lily was sick. They all left home around lunchtime and got gas at the Circle K in Elma, then went through the Tim Hortons drive-through for food. Daniel said he thought the kids were sleeping. They drove to Truro and went to Malaya's grandmother's house. So Daniel said he thought the kids were sleeping, and Malaya says, I think I bought them a bagel. So they both seem to have their memories are kind of fuzzy at the same time. Um, so they drove to Truro, went to Malaya's grandmother's house to do laundry, and spent most of the day there. They went shopping at Walmart and got food. Uh, and that's redacted. They left her grandmother's house at 9:30 p.m. and got home around 10:30 p.m. Then put the kids to bed. Daniel said he thought Malaya put them to bed. He didn't know what they were wearing because they were underneath the covers when he checked on them. Okay. So, and this isn't the night that they went missing, mind you. This is the night that they went to do laundry, which would have been Wednesday. Now, wait now, though. They say that was Thursday. Okay, when asked about Friday morning, Daniel said the following. Daniel said he thought it was only a few minutes regarding Thursday. Okay. Yeah, I think this is where he messes up. Okay, so Daniel could not remember if they went to town on Wednesday or not. Yeah, he's totally messed up on the days here. Uh, and Malaya's seems like she's a bit fuzzy on stuff too. You gotta wonder if that might have to do with rugs or the overwhelming stress of everything. I don't know. I mean, I've been under enormous amount of stress, and I still could recall, especially when it's so important to recall as well, because if your kids are missing and there was some kind of creep lurking around, you'd really want to be so on top of it. Dana could not remember if they went to town on Wednesday or not. He said he had a conversation with someone who was helping him with and then it's blanked out, but he thought that was on Tuesday. Man, they got foggy minds. Regarding their family situation, Daniel said they used to live with Malaya's grandmother, but they moved. They moved to Daniel's mother's house, and Daniel's mother moved into the camping trailer on the same property. Daniel's uncle and father live down the road. He has a good relationship with his family. Daniel said Lily and Jack were sheltered, but they always watched them outside, including his mother. His mother would always tell them if they didn't have coats or boots on. Um, and the way that he states that there, it kind of struck me because he's saying in a way that I would think it should be taken as it's just family helping family. And that's what I would do for my grandchild or even just a small child that is living on my property as an adult. And he's saying it in that way as if it's a friendly gesture, right? But that's not how Janie expressed it. He said discipline in the house was just talking to the kids and telling them why they could not do things. But yet he's confided in other people that he had spanked the children, and he confided that in Belinda as well, which they discussed again yesterday apparently on Facebook. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. Um, but yeah, there was conversation about that on Facebook between Belinda and Daniel. And Belinda had reminded him that this is what you told me about discipline with the children, and reminded him that, you said you had spanked them and that Malaya wouldn't. Something, something along those lines. It's still on there, I believe. I didn't see it, but Mike Demand read it out last night. Um, he said discipline in the house, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Daniel said the kids did not listen to Malaya. They only listened to him. He said they did not physically discipline the kids. Now, it's crazy to me, like, to read that in there and then know that there was other things stated. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he even talked about that in Dolly's chat as well. Uh, I'd have to go back and look. Um, so it's just, just tell one story. Just tell one story, because if you are innocent, you're not helping yourself by doing that. Just, you gotta tell the truth. If there was ever a time in your whole life that you just have to be straightforward and tell the truth 100% as to a T that you can, it's now. um, and not saying you have to that anybody has to come on alive and do it. You don't have to do that on Facebook or YouTube. But if you're going to interact with Facebook and YouTube, use that as a good resource. Use it as your resource. Use people to do what they can to help you find the Lily and Jack, to get answers, or to fix systems that didn't help find Lily and Jack if they are out there and they weren't recovered. Um, but don't come on to platforms or go on social media and use it to lie and cause confusion, because there's really no rhyme or reason for that. um it's better to use those platforms to your benefit. Anyways, that's my say on that. Daniel provided a third statement to police on May 6, 2025. Following is the summary of what he said. Daniel said when the kids went missing, Malaya's mother showed up extremely quickly. Now, of course, we know that's not true, because I had already did my live where I showed that receipt, that is not true. Um, Even though she was over an hour away, and we were able to show that through text, that wasn't so. He wasn't sure when Malaya called her mother and said it might be, or sorry, not through text, through phone calls, screenshots of phone calls. Um, he wasn't sure when Malaya called her mother and said it might be a good idea to check her phone to see the time. Daniel said his Google Maps would have his location, and he always kept his location on for Malaya, so she knew where he was, and she did the same for him. He said on the second day, he had cell phone service um, when he was searching, and his Google. Okay, so he didn't have cell phone service the first day, but he had it on the second day. Okay. And his Google would show his locations. He said he used Google Maps to get out of the woods one time, and he sent Malaya a picture of it. Okay, so see, this is where again it gets a little iffy for me. Okay, so you're saying you didn't take your phone. I didn't take my phone on the first day because we don't have good service out there, so I didn't bother. Um, And then after that, he's saying, yeah, my phone was working on the second day. I was able to send Malaya some Google Maps. So this is where it just, again, and he makes sure to say he took it on the second day. He said on the second day he had his cell phone and it was working on that day, and he was able to send Google Maps to Malaya. Um, and that's, again, I just I hate I don't wanna point fingers at people, but it's stuff like that that just makes me think, like, that just does not look good. It doesn't look good. It does not look good. And this is the stuff I'm saying, when the police are taking these reports, they must be going like, "Oh my god." Like, on the day that the children go missing, you're saying you don't take your phone because you never do, because not good service. And now you're saying that you got your phone with you, um, and you can get service apparently. You can on that day. Don't know about any other day, but that day you happen to. Oh, it's frustrating. Daniel talked about the areas he searched on the first and second day. He said he went into town uh, and got his friends. Now, again, there's a news article, and it's a little more information with Malaya's mother in it, and it's the Globe and Mail, the one you have to pay for. And I reread it there a few days ago, and I was kind of shocked because you kind of forget a lot of stuff. And so I do that once in a while. I'll just go back and read those articles to refresh my memory, because I mean it's my memory short term's shot anyways. It's terrible, but also because it's been so long ago, and I have so many notes that now it's so much to even go through those. But anyway, so I went back and read that. And It was more information than I've ever seen in an article that she had given, and one of the things she talked about is how the police advised them to not be out searching, to let them do their job, and to not, interfere with the investigation, and she said, "We are listening to that, and we're not interfering with that. And we're not, they're not going out and they're not interfering with the investigation." And I thought, um, well, why isn't Daniel and his family doing that? And right down to the point where he's going to get his friends to take his friends in there. Um, like it's just bizarre. It's a bit bizarre. Um, yeah, and I wish the police had to stop them. I really do. I wish they had to just kick them right out of there. They shouldn't have been allowed to do that and take control like that. Um, yeah, so Daniel said he is trying, okay. Uh, yeah, so I mean, after, you're they were told to just let the police and the searchers do their thing. No, Daniel goes and gets his friends. So again, it just makes me scratch my head. And they helped him search on the second day. Daniel said he thought Lily and Jack would only come to him because they were attached to him. Daniel said they never listened to Malaya, only him. Um, Daniel said he is trying to be completely truthful. I know it's hard, isn't it, Daniel? It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Um, and tell police everything. But it's hard to remember everything exactly as it happened. Daniel said he is having a hard time because his whole family is gone. When asked in detail about Friday morning, Daniel reiterated what he said in his earlier statements and provided the following further details. Now, just a second. Okay, I meant to read this up top. Investigators comment. She states, I believe Daniel was mistaken when he said they went to Truro on Thursday. Based on Malaya's statement and her Google timeline, they went to Truro on Wednesday. And she had a doctor's appointment appointment for blood work on Thursday. It's funny because in some places they redacted that, but there's one document they didn't. So weird. Okay, when asked in detail about Friday morning, Daniel reiterated what he said in the other side and provided the following details. When Lily was sticking her head in their room, he could hear Jack in the kitchen in the background. He did not see him, but he was usually loud and clumsy. Yes. Uh, so it was easy to hear him. They liked to eat and snack all the time and sometimes stash away food. Daniel confirmed the kids could not go out the front door because he had jammed a wrench or bolt in there to make sure the door didn't open. He said he does that some nights because there is a bear that used to hang around outside, and I already discussed my thoughts on that earlier, and I'm just can't even go there anymore. That morning, he had to rip the door open to get out, and the metal piece fell on the floor. So he knew there was no way they could have gone out that way. He took the car and went around to look. When he came back, the RCMP were there and told him not to go back in the woods. By that time, his mom was there with his Uncle Ron, and he waited with them. Well, you should have continued to not go in the woods, which was requested of you. There was the time when he was looking in the woods, he thought he heard a scream that sounded like Jack and Lily. He stopped and stood still for for a little while, but the helicopter overhead was too loud and he didn't hear anything else. At one point on Friday before dark, he took a half an hour video on his phone of where he was searching. It was a steep part of the hill, and he does not think Jack and Lily could have gone that way. He was using the flashlight on his phone to try and see in the culverts, but he didn't see anything in the water. Mm, even with a flashlight trying to look in water in the dark, I don't think would help you too much. Would be too I mean, it wouldn't do that great of a job, I don't think. They talked about what happened on Wednesday and Thursday. Daniel initially had the days mixed up, but then confirmed through online banking on his phone that they spent Wednesday in Truro with Malaya's grandmother and went to run errands, including Malaya's blank on Thursday. In addition, and when I say blank, I mean redacted. In addition to what he provided in his previous statements, he said the following about Thursday. Daniel said he Daniel said he had Facebook messages from Malaya at around 12:07 p.m. She was talking about McDonald's toys. He said he might have been out in the yard playing with Lily and Jack when she sent those messages. What day was that? He said the following about Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. So still like their memories are so bad. For like she's only in her 20s, late 20s and he's in his early 30s. Um Jeez, I thought it was bad that I have short-term memory issues at 53. Holy cow. They all went to Malaya's blank and got there, and that'd be her blood appointment, and arrived there around 12:50 p.m. Malaya went to get the blood work, and he stayed in the car with the kids. All three kids were sleeping, so it was quiet. He he looked at his banking information. Hmm. He looked at his banking information on his phone and remembered they went to Dollarama and Lawton's on the way home. They all went into the Dollarama and only Malaya went into Lawton's. Daniel said Malaya would have talked to her mother later in the day because her mother called her 2 or 3 times every day. Her grandmother also probably called. Daniel checked his Google Maps timeline uh, and detailed Thursday as well. The only new information provided was that they stopped at Acropole to pick up poutines or Putins, however you want to say it. Uh, they talked about his relationship. I just had a poutine before I come up to do this. I made one, a homemade one. I love them. They talked about his relationship with Malaya. He said the following: ginormous rejection. Daniel said he always takes his phone when he leaves the house, and his timeline will say he was home. Okay, so there you go. Now, do you see what I mean? Daniel said he always takes his phone when he leaves the house, and his timeline will say he was home. That's why I said to remember from what I said way up top, where he says he doesn't usually take his phone with him. And that is what messes everybody up with Daniel. And he's even doing it in his statements with the police. And where this is a summary, like I just wonder, so is the officer going, okay, but Daniel, back here, you had said you usually don't take your phone with you. Now you're saying you always take your phone with you. You also said you didn't take your phone with you because you never do because, um, the cell phone service isn't that great. But then you're saying on the second, you sent a picture to Malaya or your Google Maps and then add, "Well, I had service that day." Like, if any of that doesn't make somebody look suspicious, like, if that doesn't make someone look suspicious, I just, you know, and I have to wonder, is that the type of investigation that they're doing where they would stop and say, "Okay, but you said this here, now you're saying that. You said this here, but now you're saying this." Um, I mean, just me as a human being, not a police officer, I would, if that was somebody talking to me, I would be like totally calling them out on that. Totally. Because I can't stand BS and I can't stand BSers. Uh, On May 12, 2025, Daniel underwent a polygraph examination at the Bible Hill RCMP detachment conducted by Sergeant Rose Bartholomew. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's how we're going to pronounce it. The following is a summary of the paragraph examination report. Sergeant Rose Bartholomew said, "The analysis of the polygraph tracings associated to Daniel's polygraph examination produced procedure indicated he was truthful." And then it's 4 questions. And of course, all the 4 questions, it's privileged information. On May 12, 2025, Malaya underwent a polygraph examination at the Bible Hill RCMP detachment conducted by Sergeant Dahl. The following is a summary of the polygraph examination report. Sergeant Dahl stated Malaya willingly agreed to undergo a polygraph examination in relation to this investigation in an effort to eliminate her as a suspect in causing her children's disappearance and possible red rum. She was found to have been truthful when answering the following questions. And of course, they're redacted as well, and it shows that there was 4 questions. At this point in the investigation, and this is the investigator's comments, and I'll stress again, at this point in the investigation, which was mid-July, Jack and Lily's disappearance is not believed to be criminal in nature. I do not have reasonable grounds to believe a criminal offense has occurred. Now, if you guys have watched my video with regarding Carissa Boudreaux, if you haven't, please do. Um, Regarding how her mother red rummed her, it talks about the RCMP investigation that you know ended up committing her, the mother. And when you hear the officer speaking on the news, and this is when they knew, they suspected her and they were investigating her. And he sat and did a news conference knowing that they were secretly investigating her. It wasn't it was the RCMP and municipal police that were working together. So RCMP were doing the uh uh what do you call it? The uh oh gosh. Mm, can't remember the name of it now. The investigations they do there anyways. The RCMP, they were doing that, and um and then because RCMP, of course, federal took it over and they were doing that. But she was still he it was still as though that the municipal police, like she thought, were still working on the case. And so the municipal police officer was doing a press conference and he was using those exact to a T. Please watch the video and you will see that's why I did that story. He says, "At this point in the investigation," those exact words, and then I do not have reasonable grounds to believe that anything criminal is taking place. Like the exact statement, pretty much. Anyways, and that's why I had did that video. And while he's saying that, RCMP are doing the behind the scenes investigation on her that caught the mother for doing what she did to her daughter. Despicable. Totally despicable. Okay, so May 3rd, 2025, Constable Ligay met with Cody Sullivan, Lily and Jack's biological father. The following is the summary. Anyways, I'm not going to read that all the way through like the court documents. They did a polygraph on Cody as well, and he passed. And Corporal Tikonchik, Corporal Tikonchik asked Constable Conlon to speak with Cody again because the tip, okay, yes, the tip. So Malaya had called in and asked them to check out Cody to make sure that he didn't have the children. So they did that, and that's when they had shown up at Belinda's house. I think it was like between 2, 3 in the morning, to speak with Cody. Now, interestingly enough, Belinda states they did not come in the home and look around. Like they didn't. And I don't, obviously, I don't think Cody had anything to do with it, but I'm the same way as Belinda with my thinking that if you're doing a thorough job, you're going to check everything, I would hope. And, Belinda says the same. And unfortunately, like they didn't. They didn't come in and check to see that the children were not there, which I thought, I don't know. It's kind of scary. Hi, Ginger. Thanks for being here. Thanks to everybody else new that came in. If anybody come in, I'm reading away here, so I can't see, but I have to go get a drink. So if anybody wants to take, I think this is going to give you about a minute and a half to either go get a drink or have a bathroom break, and I will be right back. Okay, I have to go get a drink because my throat's starting to get dry and scratchy. All right. Hi, guys. Um, um, yeah, I know. I think I wonder the same thing, Ginger. Um, yeah. Is that Granny you're talking about, Ginger? That's all. I gotta look back and see what Sala said because I was wondering too about Granny. Yeah, Solace. They actually talk about that in here. This about the satellite. The doctor that they had come look at it. I can't find what Solace asked you. So sorry to hear, Ginger. I hope she had a good recovery. Oh, okay. It's not Granny. Sorry. I thought you guys might have been talking about Granny. Um. Oh, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I was thinking about her too. I was wondering if anybody heard from her because even before like she went to take kind of a break there, I was wondering if she was okay because it something in her voice to me didn't sound right. I don't know if it's the nurse in me that I can pick up on stuff, but I was kind of picking up on something. Hi, Linda. Thanks for being here from Newfoundland. Um, yeah. Well, maybe we'll have to write her an email and make sure she's okay. Yeah. Yeah, I hope she's okay. All right, let's get back over to this. And as you know, guys, when I'm reading, I can't see you're chatting. So, but I know you guys are chatting with each other, which I love and I think is great. You're keeping each other busy and figuring stuff out and uh, answering what questions you can help each other with and whatnot while I'm reading. So, um, yeah, I want to go through Janie's polygraph as well. Yeah, so I left off there saying that, excuse me while I take another drink, guys. That, yeah, Belinda was saying that they didn't check through the house, and they were there twice because then a witness had called on uh, was other witness statements. No, May 7th. Is that when there was another somebody that called and said that they saw Cody at a hotel in New Brunswick. Um, anyways, all of that was worked out, and they confirmed that Cody was not in New Brunswick, and he was at at his at Belinda's house where he stays. And then other witness statements. So that's another thing she's got in here to show what they've done in this investigation up to this point. So Brian Ward, Lily and Jack's bus driver, the school bus driver, and I'm not going to go through all that. There's really nothing there that's and then on May 4th, Constable Donaldson's and Constable Spears took a statement from Nancy Gallant, Jack and Lily's teacher. The following is a summary. Now, there's not really too much in there as well, except to say that she never met Malaya, but she had talked to her on the phone. And that kind of surprised me because when your children are in elementary, typically you're at every parent visitation. And this was nearing the end of the school year. So um, I just thought that was strange. And especially when you're a stay at home mom, I worked full time and I never missed a parent visitation for the kids. And yeah. And when they were in high school, when they reached high school, that's when I had told them, "Now you guys, this is where you have to prove yourself on your own, and, it's up to you guys," right? So, besides going to sports and, my son get into acting, and he was in some of the stuff, the performances, and he did the music, the sound, and stuff like that. I would go to those things, but outside of that, and I never ever had to talk to any of their teachers because they both got through high school and did okay. Um, yeah, so that's kind of a shame to not know the teachers of your elementary school children. Yeah, and then on May 5th, there was the statement taken from Patty, which is Malaya's grandmother, so I will read through that. So Patty Pearson said, "She last saw them all when they came to visit. She was not sure of the date, but said it was early in the week, 1 or 2 weeks before." And that really struck me because 'cause I'm like, "Okay, well, they supposedly were there on Wednesday, right?" Which Daniel was really mixed up on, and, worse than Malaya, and then Malaya kinda had fogginess with it too, don't know, couldn't remember if she bought the kids bagels when they went through the drive-through or whatever, yeah, but anyways, she maybe I mean, obviously, she's probably what you would consider elderly, I would think, um, has some memory issues, I don't know. I mean, apparently she lives on her own, but anyways, that's quite a discrepancy. Malaya and Daniel left to take Meadow to an appointment, and Malaya might have gotten groceries. Okay, just wait. She was not sure of the date, but said it was early in the week, 1 or 2 weeks before when they came over. Oh, yeah, and she says Daniel stayed in the car and Malaya did laundry. So she remembers that Malaya did laundry. That's correct. If what Daniel and Malaya said were true. But she says Daniel stayed in the car, and that's kind of strange too, as well. Uh, mm. Malaya and Daniel left to take Meadow to an appointment, and Malaya might have gotten groceries, but she couldn't remember if she took the children or not. So she remembers that Malaya got groceries too. It's funny, she remembers the things that you think she might not remember, but then the stuff that you think she would remember. Huh. But you can't remember if she took the kids or not. Pearson said she spoke with Malaya almost every day. And again, that's Malaya's grandmother. Okay, and then Ron Mackenzie's statement. And this is on May 8th. Ron Mackenzie. Now, when was her statement? May 5th. Wasn't even that long after. Okay, so on May 8th, Ron Mackenzie. Ron Mackenzie spoke with his sister, Janie, at 8:48. So he's confirming Janie's statement. Janie at 8:48 a.m. on May 2nd to see if she wanted to go into town with him. He said Janie said no. He said he called Janie again at 10:19 a.m. and she told him Jack and Lily were missing. He went to Janie's place a few minutes after that, then to a neighbor's to tell them what was going on. He went to town with his mother after that and came back around 1:30 p.m. He got word he could go in the woods when he came back. So he searched for a while. The children have been to his house once, and he last saw them on April 19th at his daughter's birthday party at the fire hall. Hmm. On May 8th, 2025, hmm, May 8, 2025, took a statement from Edmund Dixon, who saw Daniel Malaya and the kids at the Dollarama. So this is the individual who backed up that they were at Dollarama, besides the Dollarama CCTV footage. Edmund Dixon said he worked with Daniel at Redacted and saw him in the Dollarama parking lot between 11:30 and 12:30 on May 1st, 2025. They had a conversation for about 5 minutes and discussed enjoying how they enjoyed their time off work. He also saw Daniel's girlfriend and their baby. He saw other people inside the vehicle and heard children's voices, but did not see who was actually in the back seat. Well, we know that was Jack and Lily. On May 9th, uh, Constable Mackenzie McKendrick had a conversation with Redacted. Okay, so this is one of the redactions that you're kind of like, okay, well, what is this? Now, this would make sense to me that this allegedly could be speculating, could be the witness that called in about the car, because the witness called on the day after the search had been called off or scaled back. So the witness called in on May 8th, and this statement is from May 9th, and the whole thing is completely redacted. So we have no idea who it was and what it's about. So my speculation is that it was that witness. That's what's under that redaction. Could be wrong. May 13th. Constable McIntyre took a statement from Cindy Murray, who is Malaya's mother. Cindy Murray said she spoke with Malaya over Facebook Messenger and used video chat. She checked her Facebook Messenger history and provided the following information. Cindy had a missed audio call on April 30th, 2025 at 1:21 p.m. They had a 12-minute video call at 4:40 p.m. Cindy said she did not remember the exact call because they talk at least once a day or more. So she didn't remember the exact conversation. On May 1st, 2025, there was a missed call from Malaya at 2:52 p.m. and a video call at 3:37 p.m. Cindy said she called on video chat to see the kids, but nothing about the call stood out in her mind. On May 2nd, 2025, there was and that is redacted, and a message from Malaya saying the kids are missing and the police were there. And again, we showed the screenshot of that, or I showed the screenshot of that in one of my videos, that where the videos were and the messages there that Cindy was sending to Malaya. Cindy said she learned from her mother that the kids were missing because she left her phone in the house when she was in the barn, which was why she missed Malaya's calls. She said she did not know what time her mother called to let her know. On May 17th, 2025, McIntyre took a statement from Chance Lays, who was Daniel's friend. The following is the summary. Chance Lays said Daniel called him on Friday night to tell him the kids were missing and asked if he would help with the search. Lays, Daniel, and their other friend, Adam Roy, went out and searched on Saturday. Lays used to work with Daniel and that would be the sawmill, and found him to be a hard worker who was reliable. Well, I guess it could be the sawmill. Could be another job that Daniel used to have. Who knows? Um, and then the whole next section is redacted, but for personal information. On May 17, 2025, Constable Donaldson took a statement from Justin Smith, who lives in the area where Jack and Lily went missing. The following is a summary. Justin Smith said he was in good terms with the Mackenzie family, and helped Janie out in the past. He did not know Malay and Daniel, Jack, or Lily specifically. And then the rest of that is redacted with delayed disclosure. So that's different than personal information because this is stuff that they want to protect. Um, Smith helped with the search on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but did not find anything else. I have delayed disclosure written down here in the definition. Let me just read it again. Um, Delayed disclosure definition. When the party responsible for providing the necessary information to the opposing side, and right now that would be the public, uh, being that this stuff was released to the public, takes an unreasonable amount of time to do so. Okay, what is delayed disclosure? When the party responsible for providing the necessary information to the opposing side or to the public takes an unreasonable amount of time to do so. So it's not saying that it won't be disclosed at another time, I guess, but they're not disclosing that information currently. They're protecting it. Smith helped with the search on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but did not find anything. And then it goes into the ground search and rescue. And I'm not going to read all of that. And that's just talks about Amy Hansen and everything they did in the search. And it's all the stuff that we've read in the newspaper, um, or read from the news or heard on the news. And then it talks about the second search that we all know about that they did over the weekend, 17th to the 19th. Um, 17th to the 19th. That's not a did the maybe they hadn't did the third search yet by that point. Okay. And then between May 8th and 9th, the RCMP, okay, so the underwater recovery. Now, the only thing in here that's interesting that they say is that one of the ponds that they had searched or wanted to search, they could not get to. But everything else, the lakes, the ponds that they searched, they didn't find anything. But there was one pond that they couldn't get to search because of its location, and that some of the lakes and ponds are like that around here. Um, so yeah, Muffer conducted the drone. Okay, and then the only thing in that really of interest is that underneath the uh, trailer, the main trailer, not Janie's trailer. There was an area they couldn't search because uh, there was there was something hanging, whatever's in between the floor of the trailer and the underneath of the trailer. It was hanging down, so the drone couldn't get through. So they didn't search that area. They weren't able to search that area. Uh, yeah. Yeah, so conducted a drone search of the underside of Jack and Lily's residence. He checked the right side and estimated he was able to see about two-thirds of the right underside of the trailer, as the ground was sloped and the RPAS could not fit in the remaining space. Yeah. Family members taking part in the search for Lily and Jack. Okay, so this is about the blanket. So on May 2nd, which is the first day of the search, family members uh, taking part in the search for Jack and Lily located a pink blanket. Located a pink blanket around 4 p.m. Well, that's interesting to actually get a time on that. When Haley Ferdinand, so that would be Malaya's stepsister, half sister, Hayden Murray Smith, and that's her brother, and Hayden's girlfriend came out of the woods to say they found a pink blanket in the woods in a tree on Lansdowne Station Road. They showed a picture to Malaya and Daniel, who confirmed the blanket belonged to Lily. Well, Malaya confirmed. Now we know that there was a whole thing there with Daniel, who stated that it wasn't at first, and then said yes, it is. Um, Constable Gagnon and Constable Mason drove Haley, Hayden, and Hayden's girlfriend back to the location where they saw the blanket. Constable Gagnon seized the blanket. Constable Martin and his police dog were called to the area. He took photographs of the blanket. He walked for about 1 kilometer in the area, excuse me, with his dog at an adjacent trail. They did not pick up a scent to complete a track. So, I mean, the kids were not in that area, according to the dog, right? But somehow that blanket got in the tree. The other part of the blanket was seized from Malaya in Daniel's house by Corporal Rice on May 4th at 9:09 p.m. Hmm. So the part that was found in the tree was found on the first day, and the other part was not seized from the garbage until May 4th at 9:09 p.m. Hmm. It was located inside a trash bag at the end of the driveway, and Daniel showed everyone that on his last news interview. It was CBC. On May 5th, 2025, at 11:07 a.m., Constable Gagnon showed Corporal Tikonchik the seized blanket, and she compared it with the image of the blanket seized from the residence. She believed they were pieces of the same blanket. After Corporal Tikonchik checked to confirm it was the same blanket, she drove to the location where the blanket was seized. She confirmed it was exactly 1 kilometer from Jack and Lily's residence. And so we also know that that was sent for forensic testing. So one would think DNA. Okay, so May 7th. Excuse me, guys, I got to take another drink. Sorry. Okay, so May 7th, Constable Himmelman met with blank in the Walmart office and obtained the video surveillance. Okay, so that would be when they went to get food and that. So we're not going to read through all that. So So they're confirming that. And they received the school bus footage. But what struck me with that, with the school bus footage, is that they asked for Wednesday, Friday. No, they asked for, yeah, Wednesday. I think Friday and whatever days it was, but they didn't ask for Wednesday or Thursday, which I thought was weird. On it, does it say the date? Video surveillance from April 28th to April 29th and May 2nd. So 28, 29, and May 2nd. Let me check my calendar. Um, so April, April 20. Am I looking at the wrong calendar? April 28th. So that's Monday. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? No. Can you guys hear me? No. You guys hear me? Okay. I don't know why my picture's not coming up, but whatever. Um, Sorry about that, guys. I knew it was gonna kick me out because it's acting really weird today. So, yeah, so I was looking at my calendar there to check those dates, and I don't know why, but they didn't ask for Thursday, which I don't understand that because they asked for the 2 days, yeah, so Monday, Tuesday, there was no school Wednesday, and then they asked for Friday, but they didn't ask for Thursday. I just thought that was weird, but I guess they have their reasons why they do stuff. Okay, so on May 20th, 2025, the school bus surveillance, I'm not gonna read all that. The only thing that struck me on that was that they, for some reason, I guess they didn't want Thursday. Um, oh, maybe Squid, maybe. I'm looking at my phone too to see that I can see your guys' comments while I'm reading and to make sure that yous don't lose me. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's because they confirmed the sighting on Thursday, but you would think they would still wanna see what's going on around the home on Thursday. You know, just kinda thought that was weird. Uh, okay. And then on May 22nd, a conversation with Bergmark, video canvases, and then talks about how they asked for more detailed surveillance. And that's when they put that out, the request out to the public, anybody with cars, video cams in the cars and whatnot. Um, then, yeah, I had a conversation with Constable Spears regarding the management of tips received. Um, so then they just talk about how none of the tips so far have led to anything. And then, okay, so this here. Now, wait now. Did we pass Melissa? Okay. I think I might have passed it, but okay, May 22nd, I had video canvases conducted. There's another tip here that is redacted out, and it was on May something. I can't remember the date. But anyways, I suspect that tip is Melissa, who gave her trail cams, and it's her name that they're redacting out of there. Uh, about video surveillance. Okay, so that's the school bus, and then confirm if I was required. And okay, and then 45, I submitted and granted the application of records for the school bus. I thought still a school bus still. I received a call from, okay, I had a conversation. Canvases conducted in the area of Jack and Lily's residence. The following is the summary. Constable Birdmark was assigned as the video coordinator. May 15th, during the investigation, a secondary, more in-depth video canvass conducted of the area of Garlic Road, 8-kilometer radius. This canvass started on May 17th. Ms. Bergmark and his team have checked approximately so many residences in the area. The time frame being requested is April 27th, 2025, 8 a.m. to May 3rd, and we remember all that, to 8 a.m. Blank residences with cameras or trail cams are confirmed to exist and have video or photos from the time frame requested. Blank video and one set of photographs have been seized. Photographs? Huh. So Redacted residences with cameras or trail cameras are confirmed to exist and have video or photos from the time frame requested. Yeah, because some of those they have like, well, probably maybe all of them. It has the card because my husband has those, and then the card has the pictures on them. So, redacted video and one set of photographs have been seized, but not yet been thoroughly reviewed. Vehicles at those residences are also being logged for later comparison if required. Um, yeah, and they talk about a tip or talk about, I think it was said May 22nd or May 23rd. I can't remember. But, anyways, some of the information was redacted, and I just speculate that that may have been Melissa who had given her trail cam. Excuse me. Okay, each tip is being followed up by an investigator. There are more. There are some areas that have been identified to be searched. Okay. Okay, so this here. So on May 21st, 2025. Now you remember at the beginning how it had stated about Malaya and Daniel's phones being seized? Um or them requesting access to their phones in a different application, and that was approved, and that their phones had been checked. They got the information back on those. Now here they're talking about two, and I'm pretty sure it's phones because what I did was I looked up the address Montreal, Quebec, H3B 2M8, and I put in business, and what come up was I actually have a picture of it, and I'll show you. I looked up both addresses, and I'll show you what come up. And then I think that's the end of this. Yeah, because then it's just the terms and conditions. And then these addresses are all redacted, and I'm pretty sure that is when I look those up, I believe they come up as banks. Uh, yeah. Okay, so I'll just show you those two addresses I looked up and got a hit on. Even though it's redacted, they left enough of the uh, information in there that I was able to see that it was telephone companies. But my question is that Malaya and Daniel? Because at the beginning she already discussed Malaya and Daniel's phones, but she also did mention the school buses and then went into further detail. So it must be. Yeah, so you can see that that Montreal address is showing that it comes up as Bell Canada. So even though they had part of it redacted, I was still able to come up with what that address is for. Um, so one is for Bell Canada, and the other is for TELUS. So even though that stuff was all redacted, they are telephone companies. So one is TELUS and one is Bell. So now whether that's regarding Malaya and Daniel's uh, phones, I don't know. because I'm curious as to whether they have requested access to Janie's mobile to check that and make sure that what she's saying is fact, just as they did with Daniel and Malaya. Because as I always stated, there are three people on the property, not just Daniel and Malaya. And you know, to me, everyone on the property should be thoroughly checked. And her phone, her to me, her phone records should be checked as well. Now, again, this is only until mid-July, so we don't know if um, what's been done since then, right? And we know there's been more done, obviously, uh, but what we don't know. So one would hope that they have received the information for Janie's phone for Janie's phone as well, and have confirmed that she was on Facebook when she says she was. She's the last person to state that she heard the children. So I mean, if you want to call that the last witness to the children, she's put herself in that position to be the last person who heard them. Um, so she did, or she's saying she did. So, uh, to me, it should be proven that she was what she was doing during those periods. Because if she wasn't, it does show that if it shows that she wasn't clicking on Facebook or Temu or whatever, what was she doing during that time? But anyways, that's just my thought. So that's it for those. I want to come over and check and see what you guys are up to. I see Chelsea's in the room. Hi, Chelsea. And anybody that I missed. Carla, I can't remember if I said hi to you yet or not, but hi. And when I looked at my phone while I was reading, I thought I seen Belinda. Yes, hi, Belinda. I thought I seen your name. Yeah. Um, Kay. Hi, Kay. I don't know if I've seen your name before. Welcome to the group if you haven't been here before. If there's anybody else here, Star Child, hi. Anybody I missed? Margaret, hi. That I didn't get to say hi to. I am sorry. I can't see the chat when I'm reading. Uh, I I did put it on my phone after Tammy High. Uh, After it went dead on me. Uh, Nova, I was told because they were spotted in Glasgow, so they didn't need. Okay, okay, cool. Thanks, Belinda, for letting me know that. That'll drive me nuts. uh, I uh, I just I'm like you, like when you said when they came to the house and they didn't check. I'm the same as you. I'd be like, "Oh my god, should they have checked? Like, why didn't they check? Are they missing stuff? Like, I hope they're not missing anything." Like, I would be the same way. And then I'm the same way when I look at that and go, "Okay, well, why didn't they look at Thursday?" Uh, so that's good. That's good. Mark, hi. Thanks for being here. Okay. If I did miss anybody else, my apologies, guys. And of course, I'm way behind in the chat. So I can't see it when I'm reading. Lola, hi. Thanks for coming back. All right. I don't I think I got everybody. I think I said hi to everybody. um Anyways, guys, we're past the 2 hours. Next time I come on, we're going to touch on a different case going on here. It's an active case, and it involves a little girl, possibly no older than 3, who was found deceased um, in a river, sad, and they are trying to figure out who this little girl is. Okay, they cannot figure out who she is because nobody has reported any children missing in the area of where they found this precious little girl. So we are going to take a look at that case, and it's another head scratcher. I have to say, it's a head scratcher. Chelsea and Belinda, thank you for being here. Lots of love to you guys. Lots of love to everybody. I'm not gonna close out the chat because I know you guys will want to finish up your conversations. Um, and of course, we will always continue to talk about Jack and Lily and anything new that comes out. Well, that whole episode live that I do will be dedicated to Jack and Lily. But we are going to start to touch on some other cases as well as we continue to touch on Jack and Lily. Um, yeah, I know. Yeah, it's so sad. So, with Jack and Lily, we don't have them. You don't have them, but they're gone. But in this case, they have her, this baby doe, but they don't know who she is. So, it's so sad. It's just so sad. I know I seen somebody asking me and Belinda a question back there, and now I can't see it. It's, these cases can go either way, and it's just heartbreaking. There it is. CB, Belinda and Nova, I am holding the hope that they got every day from the bus, even not at first, to see all the bus saw. Yeah, outside, even without the kids inside. Yeah, yeah. You know, it would be nice to know if they had footage of the kids out there playing that, even Belinda could have. Like, I thought of that, when they had said when I saw in there that they got that footage, I thought, I wonder if they can see the kids out there playing. Like, you know, it's so sad. Yeah. All right, guys. Oh, thanks, Chelsea. Thanks. Oh, I keep clicking on your name, but StreamYard or YouTube's being a bugger today. You're welcome. You're welcome. They will always, always, always be priority. Yeah, for sure. Jack and Lily, Lily and Jack. Yeah. Okay, guys. Somebody's birthday. Did I see happy birthday? Happy birthday. Oh, happy birthday to your son, Ginger. You tell him. You tell him. The gang says happy birthday. And I'm going to write an email to Granny to see how she is because that kind of worries me that nobody's heard from her, especially you, Ginger, because I know that out of anybody, I would have thought that there was some communication there. So that kind of worries me. Um, All right, guys, lots of love, lots of positive vibes. I'm going to put Lily and Jack on, and uh, you guys go ahead and continue to finish up your chats. Like I said, I won't close out because I know you guys are chit chatting there. Uh, and we will talk soon. Okay. Bye, everyone.